So a lot of you have been asking me my opinions on Baldur's Gate 3, and today I just wanted to talk to you about the game itself, but also about what this game means for the game industry, because I think it has set a new standard, as some people say. But also, I think more importantly, before we get onto the game itself, I just want to talk about this. I think Baldur's Gate 3 clearly has been made with a lot of passion and love. And that's something that's sadly quite rare. Not because developers don't have passion and love for making games, but because it's very much the game industry nowadays is driven by corporate greed and making as much money as you can from the video games for your shareholders. So games are driven by deadlines and manipulative schemes to make money beyond just the sale price of the game and lots of other things that are frowned upon in the games industry today. Games weren't like this over a decade ago. Things have changed. It takes a lot more time to produce games, but you've still got the pressure of the corporate company pushing the game out the door to try and make money. So these games get released, they have bugs, they have problems, they're unfinished, and it's just stories that we're all very familiar with in this day and age of gaming. But now, back to Larian, a game that was really made with a lot of passion by a company that loved what it was doing and driven by a CEO that is a gamer himself and led the charge on the development of Baldur's Gate 3. But at what cost to the company? I mean, at one point over the last decade, they almost went bust. People lost their jobs, they took pay cuts. So, this was driven by a team of passionate people that made a lot of sacrifices because they were doing what they love to make a game that they all love. And I'm so glad that it's finally out and it's finally come true, and also that it's been as successful as it has been. While this game is a great example to the game industry, I don't think we'll get another one like this for at least another decade. There's probably a lot of people out there who want to replicate this exact thing and have tried and failed to do what Larian Studios have done successfully. So what does it mean for the future of the game industry? Well, I hope that firstly, companies take note that single-player roleplay games are still extremely popular and can be extremely successful. People are still playing Skyrim over a decade later. That game still has a huge modding scene and community behind it. And then there's the elephant in the room that games don't need microtransactions. You can just sell the game at launch and then it can be very successful if the game's good and it can continuously make money. And we've seen that with more RPGs than just Baldur's Gate 3. I'm thinking of The Witcher, Skyrim, Kingdom Come Deliverance. And again, Kingdom Come Deliverance was made by Warhorse Studios, tiny little company in the Czech Republic that has now grown even larger as they work on their next game. Do I think Baldur's Gate 3 will change the gaming industry? No, I don't. I sadly don't think it will change much. I think currently the status quo is to do as little work as possible and make as much money as possible. And that is like a successful business, really. Not to say that anyone's lazy or anything, because I know how hard some of these developers work, being friends with them myself. For example, I used to be an architect, and we would talk about this a lot in architecture. It's a triangle. On one side is cost, the other side is speed, and the other side is quality. You cannot have all three things. For example, if you want speed and quality, it's going to cost you a lot of money. If you want it to be cheaper, it's going to be a lot slower. So you cannot do all of these things. They all affect one another. And it's the same in the game industry. Like currently the mechanics of how the game industry work with these corporate companies wanting to make money from their games, suddenly we have not much time for the game to be made and therefore the quality suffers. It's very obvious. It's like the core issue with the game industry really, which is why I'm pretty confident, sadly, that we won't really see many games that are on the same level as Baldur's Gate 3. Now, if you guys want my opinion on Baldur's Gate 3, I've vested like 144 hours into it so far, so I really do enjoy it. I have good and bad things to say about it. So if you want my opinion, just let me know in the comments and maybe I'll do another video like this. Let me know. I'll see you in the next one.